Hello, hello, everyone. We will be starting shortly in about 6 minutes. Thank you for being on time.
Testing audio. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
Hey, everyone, we'll be shortly back on, starting shortly. All right, everyone. Hello, good evening. We're going to be starting in another minute, just letting the last few people come on here. We have a little, probably, coming on now, just piling on. Just give us a few more seconds here and we'll start right on time. Hey, Sarah. Sarah, hello, hello. Make you a co-host. Oh, Sarah, there you go. Make co-host. Yes. All right. We have membership. We have Sarah online. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good, Duncan. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
How are
All
you?
right, I'm going to kick off since I like to be proper and punctual for everyone. So I want to say this is our first meeting of the year. I'm very excited for this meeting. We are going to be getting back to basics. We have a lot of things going on to share with real estate investors. And I did put up a poll. If this is your first time here, just answer yes or no would be great. I just was curious to see how many people are coming back and are joining us for the first time since we do our marketing. Um, and by the way, you'll see during the meeting a chat bar down at the bottom for you. If you would like to ask questions there, please do so. We also use this as our get to know each other on here. So if you have a product, a house, a service you would like to introduce to the people on the call, please just type it in there, and especially how to contact you. So we'll also have our membership information in there, because you'll soon see that becoming a member makes a lot of sense. So just make sure when you put your contact information in there, the little box says to everyone, so everyone can see that. All right, so let's kick off with that. I'd like again to welcome our members and our guests. The Boston RIA is your pathway to success. I do want to say before we begin, we have a liability disclosure, and that Boston RIA, Real Estate Investors Association, assumes no responsibility, liability for the outcome of any real estate transaction, decision, or any other action that the Boston RIA member or visitor enters into as a result of attending any meeting, listening to any guest speaker, or talking to other Boston RIA members, guests, visitors, or persons. You are an adult, so please, take everything with a grain of salt, and do your own research before you invest in anything. And share in any product or service. Boston RIA does try to vet each one of our speakers or vendors to provide you with the best quality service, pricing, and discounts. But again, that is stated, we can move on. The Boston Real Estate Investors Association, known as Boston RIA, REIA, we are the most active real estate investor community in New England. We are the fifth largest in the United States because we've got a lot of going on. We have a lot of deal flow, investors doing real deals. We do a lot of networking. We always have education, and we have so many resources for the individual investor to make money, save money, discounts, cash back, which you'll hear about a little bit later on. So welcome to New England's largest real estate investor community, which is actually close to 5,000 members at this point. So you are in the right place at the right time by being here. And again, thank you for kicking off the new year with us. Oh, went the wrong way. So the RIA is actually the largest trade association of real estate in the United States. You'll hear of other smaller groups that are trade associations, but we are the largest in the United States, all throughout 50 states and beyond, actually. And because of our size and our members, we get huge discounts and other offers presented to us. and Home Depot is one of our main sponsors, so they are going to give us preferred pricing, cash back, and more. And Sarah's going to be talking about that in a little while. But I really invite you as a member or even non-member to really look at the resources that we have for you, because it really becomes a no-brainer to be part of the association, especially if you're a real estate investor. So we like to talk about first, without too much fluff here, about what's going on in Boston. What are the trends? What are we seeing? What are we expected to see? And Sarah Abraham is our investor friendly realtor. Her contact information is up on the screen. So I'm going to share, she's going to share her screen with us now and just talk a little bit about, in the next 5 minutes, what's going on. And if you have any questions, please put them in the text box and we'll get them answered. So let me stop my share. And Sarah, you can share your screen now.
Yep. Thanks,
All
Duncan.
right.
Uh,
Mhm.
so so we're easing back into, from the new year and the holidays and all that. So I got this slide up for you, but it's very, very important because let me just move that here. Okay, so I can read. Uh, oh, you know what? Let me actually put the slideshow on. All right, so there has been a lot of commotion happening with interest rates lately, over the past, I don't know, like month maybe or so. And that has been, doing a lot of movement, a lot of changes, what we're seeing right now in the market. So this is a weekly report. So that's the first week of the year. And interest rates has been going down beautifully. This week it just went up like 0.01, which wouldn't really count much, but it has been going down. Like today was just for today was like I think 675. Of course, considering that, let me just move this here out of my way. Considering that, you have the best, credit, income, down payment and all that. And after eventually, like I want to say mid-September or so, we were looking at about 8% or even a little bit over 8%. And another thing that I love to look at a lot is what Sam Cotter thinks, because he's the chief economist of Freddie Mac. And what he was saying here is that mortgage rate moves sideways as markets digest incoming data. Between late October and mid-December, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage plumped more than a percentage point. However, since then, rates have moved sideways as the market digests incoming economic data. Given the expectations of rate cuts this year from the Federal Reserve, as well as receding inflationary pressures, mortgage rates will likely continue to drift downward as the year unfolds. While lower mortgage rates are welcome news, potential home buyers are still dealing with the dual challenges of low inventory and high home prices that continues to rise. This cannot be more accurate, and a true reflection on what's happening in the market right now. Yes, we have been seeing, like, for example, this past weekend, I had an open house. Uh, it was almost 590 price point. Within 2 hours, I got about 100 people, 100, there's no exaggeration, walking into the door. I got about like 35 parties. And I'm saying, like, even if I had at least every party at least had 3 to 4, 5 people, but even if I average it on 2 people, that's 70 people walked into the door. I had a lot of parties that had more than 3 people, so I'm talking 4 or 5, even 6 people. And like, are you guys together or like not together? So, and then they said, no, we're one group. So it was quite the show. And yes, we ended up with multiple offers. So, and what does that mean? High prices, because again, nothing crazy like COVID days, but again, like even if you have one other buyer competing, you kind of, you as a buyer, you kind of like, lost because you have a competition. Um, that was completely different, I want to say a couple months ago, when things were kind of like slow to move. even the well-priced homes kind of were having, you know, a little bit of difficulty. They can sit maybe, you know, after second or even third open house. Yes, inventory continues to be low. We started to see a little bit of homes coming on the market, but it still continued to be like really low. So this sentence cannot be more accurate. Low inventory and home prices continue on the rise is a big challenge right now for the buyers. But, you know, I think buyers are happy to just like see that interest rates are going down. I personally don't think that they're gonna be as low as during COVID days. Eventually, we thought that they will not just hit the 8, that they will go over the 8. But then, luckily, you know, containing inflation and all that helped, you know, easing things and cooling things down. And I just hope that it continues to be that way, you know, as the year unfolds.
Okay, so Sarah, just a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Are you seeing many cash offers accepted over finance offers? And are you seeing those offers at asking price or going over asking?
Definitely cash offer has its own charm, like always,
Mhm.
right? But because just there is not enough cash buyers, like cash buyers, I'm gonna say about 25 to 30% of the total buyer pool.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, unless there's not much difference, most seller they are looking for, you know, netting the most money. And unless there is not much difference in you know in how much they can walk away with, they would go with the cash offer over the you know the mortgage, just to avoid any complications that might arise.
And are you seeing a lot of new builds up there? New
Actually, there
construction?
are. There are. There are new
Okay.
constructions, and they are there also there is that what's happening right now. There's a lot of communities that they are new construction, kind of like luxury apartment building. A lot of investors are doing that too. You know, they can put like at a time, like, you know, 50 units, 200 units, and then those go up for big money rental wise.
Okay. And then
And you were asking about if the offers like are over asking or at or
mm,
under. We are seeing over asking with multiple offers. Yes, we absolutely started to come back. Again, not 25 and 30 offers, but you can get like average and 4, 5 offers and all competing and all trying to, you know, to kind of win the offer.
and days on market, what are you seeing?
They started again to like not like to be like really low, like we're almost at back to like after first open house, you know, the house sells. So we started to see this like over like the past couple months, you know, it would still be, you know, acceptable to like see a nice house priced really well and it sits after like 2 or 3 open houses. Now
Okay.
that's kind of disappearing.
Yeah. I am seeing once January hit, I mean, it slowed down during December season, it seemed, and house listings were not prevalent, but all of a sudden it seems like house listings kind of just popped up like crazy today.
Yep. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Okay. So it's still a seller's market though. And if you're
100%.
priced right, you're going to sell your house fast. Would you say, are there any better areas for investors to work in?
No, no.
No.
I
Okay.
mean, eventually, you know, around, you know, Essex, Middlesex and Suffolk, that's where I mostly work. The just the median price of the homes are higher than if we're talking Western Mass. So, you know, but I feel like, if you buy low and you sell low, it's pretty much similar if you buy high and you sell high. So it's kind of, you know, it's
Okay.
pretty much similar.
Super. Well, thank you, Sarah. Do you want to give your
Absolutely.
contact details out one more time to anybody who
Yeah,
wants to work with an investor-friendly realtor? And do you want to
absolutely.
tell people what an investor-friendly realtor is compared to another broker or realtor?
Absolutely. Investor friendly realtor can identify properties that can fit an investor buyer, able to run numbers after repair value and all that, able to submit offers or able to aggressively negotiate. on on behalf of that investor. I'm personally, I'm not tired of like making offers. I can make offers all day long. That's not something that bothers me. And licensed in Mass and New Hampshire. So I can do any of these two states, residential or commercial. So commercial is anything that is more than 4 units. So 1 to 4 is residential, 5 and higher is commercial.
So just want to say that investor-friendly realtor should be on your team. They understand the investor's mindset, so they are going to submit offers for you, even if they're lower than usual, and they do negotiate and they do know the numbers. So definitely a person on your team. So with that, thank you very much, Sarah, and I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here.
Sounds good.
And there's Sarah's information one more time. Let's
I'll
get
put
my
it in
little
the
thing
chat
here.
as well.
Yep. So, thank you. Go down here. All right, and then I want to talk about money very briefly because we have a lot of partners that are providing private money, hard money, shorter term money. They're providing phenomenal mortgage deals, offers to investors. We have short-term money for if you just want to flip a house. We have free proof of funds up to 500,000 at quickturnmoney.com. Basically, you go there, put in your information, and they'll automatically print out a letter with you having access to 500,000. So, we have money. You'll find these vendors within our members area. And I highly recommend them to you. Like I said, there's more money out there than ever. And if you have a money offering, please contact me at bostonria@gmail.com. And we'll talk about, getting your service and capital in front of our investors. We have many advertising opportunities. We also have an in-person networking group. We hope to expand this out later on, but right now, if you do want to meet in person, this is in the South Shore from 6 to 8 p.m. It's at the Stellwagen Beer Co. So we have beer and networking in person. Fun little event from 6 to 8 p.m. So you can find that on our website and meetup information to reserve your spot. Um, Also want to talk about very quickly in our data portal in the members area. There's a lot of data that you can pull from around the US. We'll give you a housing market at a glance. It'll, basically run comps, what have you. This is free of charge for all our members. So I invite you to try that out. That benefit right there alone is worth about $50 a month but you get it free with your access to the National RIA, which is also included in your Boston RIA membership. The other benefit we have is your vendor VIP list. So if you're looking for some contractor, some service, you can find it on here. Everybody's, been approved, vetted, etc. And you can simply look on our website for the link to put your own products, services, needs once up there and get it in front of all our members as a member benefit of Boston RIA. And that's huge. So if you're serious about real estate investing, you want to help us and you want to help you make money, please join us tonight. It's a tax deductible write-off. A lot of benefits to you. You get free entrance to a lot of our events. You get into the Home Depot preferred pricing program. You get the cash back. We have discounted workshops. We have so many vendors. But the main thing here is you got to be a sport. You got to be a player in this game, and we have everything you could possibly need to get you off to the ground. Log in to the members area, or even on our front page of our website, it'll talk more about what these member benefits are. Like I said, we provide everything you need to run a real estate company professionally. All there for you. We even provide leads for you. So, depending on what market you're going after, we can find you, leads to make offers with. Yearly membership is $280 per single person, 400 couples, partners, company, what have you. Text Kelly at 864-906-4111 for more information to join. She'll contact you with the application and can process your payment for you. And Sarah will get you signed up into our Home Depot program, which we'll talk about I think we're talking about it next. Sarah, you want to talk about the Home Depot program? Just give me like a 5-minute overview and I'm going to stop my share here again and
Absolutely.
I'll let you talk. Yes, yeah, just a 5-minute overview what the benefits of Home Depot are.
Def- Definitely. Home Depot is definitely a great program that is only available for our members. So let me just, all right. Okay, I think this is good. All right. So, oops, what is that? Let me just go here. All right. I think you can see my screen.
Yep, we can say
Yeah. So when I talk about Home Depot, this is basically, you can think of it as any rewards program. So when you have like CVS or Shaw's or Stop and Shop or anything that gives you rebates or rewards for buying their products, Home Depot is no different. They actually have better stuff too. So how it works, with any rewards program is that you would sign up with your email and your phone number and all that great stuff. Home Depot is exactly the same way. And Home Depot not only get your phone and email, they also allow you to register a payment method. And we're gonna know how is that beneficial, in an upcoming slide. So basically, Home Depot Pro Extra, is a product that Home Depot offers it for all of their members. But eventually, if you are a Boston REIA member, you eventually get more. This is what Duncan and Kelly negotiated specially for our members. So with the Home Depot Pro Extra, you get a 2% rebate biannually on all purchases with a minimum spend of a $5,000 per period. Basically, Home Depot has 2 rebate periods. It's fixed dates, January 1st until June 30th, and then July 1st until the end of the year. So we technically just started a new cycle. So it is a great chance to just sign up today and start getting rebates, while you have that a lot of time ahead of you. And the rebates comes in a form of a gift card if it's anything that is under $1,000. If it's $1,000 or more, you receive a check in the mail within 60 days from the closing cycle of each period. So 6 days from June 30th or 6 days from December 31st. So if you have been a member with us, probably around February, you're gonna get your rebate gift card or check. Always make sure your mailing address is up to date with Home Depot so you wouldn't lose your rebates. Always our members, they start at the gold tier with the paint, and that qualify you for a 20% off paint without meeting the rebate minimum. So let's say you signed up tonight with Boston REIA and you have a project that has just paint that's remaining to be done, and that's all you need with your project. You can go right away to Home Depot and get the 20% at the checkout. Again, how it works, you just enter your phone number at the pin pad at the checkout, and then it will recognize that you are a Boston REIA member and a Home Depot Pro Extra member, and it's going to give you the 20% at the checkout. Now, if you pay with that registered card or that registered payment method, that's how you get your 2% rebate that's biannually that we talked about. That's what starts to count towards your $5,000 minimum spend. And the great thing about that is that they have something called the B2B, or which you can track your purchases for up to 24 months. The 20% of paint is applicable to paint, stains, and primer that is a gallon or more. Doesn't apply for quartz or spray or any of that. Also, our members can get up to 20% of select Hampton Bay kitchen and bath cabinets if you purchase 10 or more cabinets in a single transaction. And how that works is that you get 10% from National RIA and 10% from Home Depot. And both are stackable with any other store discounts that's going on at the time. So it's lots of savings here. Another tool to save is the volume pricing program, or bidroom. And basically how it works is that you need to have a list of large items that will cost $1,500 or more in a single transaction. Bring your list to the pro desk, have them prepare a quote, have them send it to the bidroom, and then within a few minutes, it's going to come back to you with any applied discounts for up to 15%. You get that at the checkout. Now, if you pay with a registered card, you get anywhere from 0 to 15% at the checkout, and then that 2% goes towards your 6 months rebate, the biannual rebate and the 5,000 minimum spent. The only thing that I would not send through the bidroom is the paint, and that's because you get a better deal through the 20% because you are a gold tier member. And normally people have to spend like $6,500 to get to that tier. In the last 6 months, now we're talking numbers, in the last 6 months, Home Depot paid out to chapter members nearly like $600,000 with an average rebate per member about $1,500. That is alone is, in one period, someone was able to buy 5 years worth of a single membership with Boston, or like 3.5 years worth of membership if they're a couple or like have a business partner. So it's definitely a no-brainer. That's alone pay off for itself for like 5 years ahead. And Duncan actually has not raised the prices for the year. I expected that, will go up like everything else. If you are a member or would like, if you're a member, don't know that, if you want to verify, like, if your membership's still valid or didn't expire or something, give Kelly a call or a text, even call her now, text her now, tell her that I would love to join Boston RIA, benefit from all the wonderful tools that we have, finding deals and network and Home Depot and all the great stuff that's listed on our website. And then Kelly will be more than happy to assist you. After that, she sends me your information, her or Duncan, and then I reach out to you. And the reason for that is because information has to exactly match. So this way, Home Depot system will recognize that you are a Boston RIA member and you can get what Boston RIA members get, not what Home Depot Pro Extra people get. You get more. So that's how it must match. And there's no like special system or anything. We do this directly from the Home Depot website. It takes about 8-10 minutes. It's very simple, very easy, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. I don't want to disappoint you, Sarah, but next month the membership pricing is going up.
Okay.
Pretty much, we haven't put up the price in 3 years, so we're going to have a 3-year price increase. So
That
we're going to
makes sense.
reveal that next month. So
Okay.
this would be your last chance to get the membership pricing that we've had for the last 3 years.
Definitely. Thank you
So
for
yeah.
bringing this up. That's another reason why they should join tonight, like immediately.
Right. So like I said, we have a ton of benefits for you. Um,
And you're
and
always
it's
adding
a tax
more.
write-off, so why not? What the heck,
You're always
Thank
adding more. I feel like I'm almost losing track of all the great stuff. Like it's definitely like it's like a one-stop shop.
Right. And like you said, as a chapter, that's a lot of money. Home Depot paid back to us. Remember, we're getting back from Office Depot, we're getting back from insurance. So all these things do add up, and that's about, putting more money in your pocket and the bottom line. So yeah, let me just share my screen real quick once again before we bring on our speaker. So there it is, 280 per year for single, 400 per couples. Contact Kelly and she'll get you started and going. So just as a last chance before we bring our speaker on, everybody's looking for something they need, they want. I'd really like you to put in the checkbox. If you're a wholesaler looking for deals, if you're a contractor who, looking for work, if you're a realtor, if you're a broker, please put into the chat exactly what you have, what you need, want. And before the meeting ends tonight, I want everybody to take a copy of that chat log and add it to your Rolodex. For those who remember what a Rolodex is, maybe CRM system. But this business is about networking. It's it's not really what you know, it's who you know to get these deals going on and the team together and that. So, building your power team, and that includes, wholesalers to provide for rehabbers, etc. So please write in that chat box down there. It's right on the bottom. I haven't seen anybody use it yet, except if somebody asking for, have they done anything about land deals? Please use that box. It's there for you. So without any further ado, we have an excellent topic backed by Maria and Gary Giordano. I had the pleasure of meeting them a few months ago, and they had spoken at many, many other real estate investors associations and got rave reviews. Maria has a great testimonial story coming from a nurse who, nurses make a ton of money anyway, I thought, until my daughter told me that's not always the case. But how she really turned her real estate investing into a gold mine and living that dream of having being financially free and independent. So she and her husband are on tonight, and I'm going to Gary, Maria, are you there? And I'm going to just stop my share and give you the share.
Yes, I
All
am
right.
here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Oh, I got to make you a co-host. Hold on. Let me make you a co-host
Oh, okay.
so you can share your screen. There we go. You got it.
Let's see if, all right. How's everybody doing tonight?
Awesome.
Now we kind of, I'm assuming that we have a mixture of flippers, wholesalers, maybe some buy and hold people, housing providers, landlords. So if you guys could humor me, and I know some are probably groaning right now, but could you put in the chat box just so I have an idea, because I can't see you, what it is you do, or what is it you want to do? So just so I have a good idea. Give you a little bit background on myself. I've been a fix and flipper was how I got started, flipping 6+ properties a month, and then I converted it over to creative deal structuring, and I still occasionally do some flipping. But what? I have nobody. Okay, nobody does anything here. I find it really hard to
Well,
believe.
it is back to the basics. So we probably have a lot of brand new investors. So somebody says I'm a long-term
Okay.
renter. Okay.
Hey, I can relate. It took me 2 years sitting on the sidelines, sitting on the fence until I finally got a mentor, got out there and stopped being a real estate
Potato.
seminar geek and doing it. So, all right,
All right.
perfect.
So they're
All
coming in
right.
now.
Broker, fix and flip, wholesale, new construction. All right, beginner, probate. I love probates. Life and death, man. Can't get away from it. Okay, perfect. So I got a little bit of an idea. Several beginners want to do it all. Okay. All right. So it sounds like if you're kind of a newbie, done maybe 2 or fewer deals or no deals, can you put a 1 in the chat box just so I can see how many brand newbie kind of people we have here? There's about 39 of us on here. So 1.3. Awesome. Okay. Beginner, buy and hold. Awesome. Okay. Well, my job tonight is to get you out there and doing deals. I think the reason why everybody is here is probably because you either want to get into real estate, you want to make more money, and you simply want to find out where are these deals and what's all the hype over this creative stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And oops, hang on, I got all sorts of stuff up. That's my website. I'm in my PowerPoint. 1 second. There we go. Can you guys see my PowerPoint?
Yep.
I hope. All right, I'm gonna have to kind of move everybody's. It's like you switch over to Zoom and all of a sudden everything goes haywire and goes all over the place. Perfect. Let me move this down. Bear with me 1 second. And then I'll try to keep an eye on the chat box if we have any questions. Otherwise, my wonderful husband, Gary, is also on tonight, and he's great at answering questions and that kind of stuff. We invest together. As Duncan said, I was a nurse, husband's a doctor, and what we found is that, making, 300,000 plus a year was just not enough to really allow, and plus you're working more hours than ever. So real estate kind of became the answer. But let me give you some brief headlines, because as we all know, the media gets paid to scare us. So these are some headlines I pulled today, as a matter of fact. It said the number of homeowners facing foreclosure is falling, but likely to rise in 2024. Last year, it was, oh my God, the bottom's going to drop out at any moment. But then all of a sudden that dipped way down. Mortgage rate forecast starting to look, pretty good. People are saying as low as 5.5%. I don't know. We'll see. It's an election year. A lot happens in an election year. Let's face it. Rising interest rates are bad for politics. This is an interesting graph I like to pull on buyers' purchasing power. It kind of shows you how it goes down for price points. I know you guys were talking in the 500,000 range earlier, but based on, the interest rates. So kind of give you an idea there. Just at 360,000, you're up at 7.5 interest, you're paying 2,500. Down at 6, you're back down to 2,158. That's a lot for people. U.S. national debt hits record $34 trillion. That came out yesterday. Oh my gosh, if that doesn't scare you, it should. Also, along with that, and I didn't put the graph up here, consumer debt, highest it's ever been. People are putting more things on credit cards than ever before. And when they're tracking it, it's gasoline, it's groceries, it's their heating bills, all that kind of stuff, the day-to-day stuff. 2024, will home buyers compete with flippers for homes that need a little TLC? How many of you are flipping out there? That's a concern. What's next for commercial real estate? It tanked this. They had a $500 billion wipeout in 2023. We're also continuing to see problems in the multifamily world. I do some multifamily, and those guys who didn't lock in their loans, those bridge loans, all that kind of stuff, we're getting adjustments. It's not good. They're having to do cash calls. Many of you have heard of the realtors found liable for $1.8 billion in damages. I know a lot of realtors that have actually left the MLS. Interesting there. A lot of them don't want to deal with it anymore. Most homes for sale in 2023 were not affordable for a typical U.S. household. And then my last one goes back to the home flippers. As the housing market turns, home flippers are struggling. So what are all these headlines designed to do? Basically, keep you afraid, keep you stagnant. And everything you want is on the other side of fear. Here's the problems I find that most people have when it comes to investing in real estate or getting into real estate. It's really simple. It comes down to 3 things. You can't find the deal, the property, the motivated seller. You don't know how to lock it in. You don't know how to negotiate on it. And you don't know how to leverage. Most people want to get into real estate, don't have a ton of money. And that's why when I got into real estate, I didn't have money. I had to figure out how to do it without having any money of my own, because the market had tanked and banks don't lend. So today, I want to show you how you can find more deals in today's market, negotiate with sellers, and become their only logical choice. And thirdly, have a creative strategy for every deal. And I'm going to let you stick around to the end. And at the end, I'm going to gift you guys with, and it'll be a screenshot, but you can take a screenshot of my subject to checklist. How many of you guys are interested in subject twos? You've probably heard a ton about it. Well, I want to teach you how to do it the right way. So we're going to go into that as well. So stick around to the end, and that's kind of like my big stick for you to take with you, because I want to make sure that you have all the steps to do them. So this is my, what I like to call my lifeline according to the interest rates. As a real little girl, I was about 6 or 7 when it crashed in the 80s, and my parents' adjustable mortgage went from about 7.6%, which was average, to 18.63% overnight. It just went sky high. At the same time, the United States hit a recession, and my father was laid off. As a little girl, I had to go with my mom to the local church, the food pantry there, where we would work on Saturdays so we would get an extra bag of groceries. My father and my mom had to claim bankruptcy. They lost our primary residence. And as a result, we had to move. I didn't realize, though, how smart my father really was, because he had invested in real estate. He was a provider, a landlord, and he built his townhouses from the ground up. And he couldn't afford to do it in Milwaukee, so he went out to the suburbs to do it. Well, because of that, we had a place to move to when they were losing their primary residence. We had a place that one side, the tenant was paying the rent and basically the mortgage, so we could, get over the humps in the market, the bumps and bruises and all that stuff. Now, this is, you guys talk about Boston being cold. This is the lighthouse on Lake Michigan, where I grew up when we moved from Milwaukee to Port Washington. Negative 40-degree windshield factors. So you think Boston can be cold? Yeah. Needless to say, my father wanted me to go into construction. He was a electrical contractor. And in the wintertime, he'd bundle up and he'd end up working outdoors. So I thought, heck no. So instead, I had a great idea, and I thought I'd go to work in the local factory. Well, I was working for a small appliance company that, leading up to Christmas, all the lines are running and we're building small appliances. But right before Christmas, you get your pink slip. So I got my pink slip and got let go. So I decided, well, you know what? I didn't get really good grades in high school. I have a learning disability, but I was going to work my butt off, and I was going to have the American dream, because everybody says, hey, nurses don't get laid off. Nurses make great money. So I'm going to become a nurse. I'm going to have that little house. I'm going to have a couple of kids, had a little divorce in there. Then I decided I'm going to have a couple more little kids. Didn't take me very long, though, as a nurse, to realize, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm working day-night shift rotations on Christmas. We just had the holidays on Christmas. I'm having to tell my kids that you have to wait until 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night because mommy has to work before you can open up your Christmas presents. It was awful. So I thought, you know what? I got another great idea. I'm going to go to work for corporate America, right? Because that's always easy. And I was hired by companies to start up their healthcare companies, whether it was a home healthcare company that I took from nothing to the #1 home care company in Phoenix, Arizona, to residential assisted livings, all that kind of stuff I was hired to do. Well, here's the thing. It didn't take me long to realize that my W-2 job, your W-2 job, is someone else's passive income. And one day I had a disagreement with the board, with the company I helped create, taking it from nothing to millions of dollars. Well, in every company, there's a devil in a suit. And I had a disagreement with the way they were going, and I had a disagreement with what was happening to the patients. So what do you think he said to me? He said, Maria, money talks, and you know what else can walk? I said, I can't do this. So he said, bye-bye. So that was my next pink slip. And I realized really quick, again, that your W-2 job is someone else's passive income. There is no such thing as job security, even when you're the #1 rep in the Phoenix metropolitan area, a city of over 5 million people. Everyone is expendable. So I realized I wanted to get into real estate. I wanted to start buying these tiny little houses. There's just one problem. I was broke. I had to go back to nursing, so I'm very thankful I got my education. But, I couldn't survive on it. The market had just crashed. I just got married to my husband. We had no money to invest. So that was how I learned how to use other people's money. And at the time, I was flipping properties. I went from doing nothing to, making almost my entire annual salary in less than 45 days to retiring myself from nursing in 6 months. And you never know where real estate's going to take you. So I've been on ABC Nightline, in the Wall Street Journal, Realty Track, Good Morning America, and even Investors Business Daily did a piece on me. But here's the thing. What I wanted, what I craved, and what real estate has done for me more than anything else out there is allowed me the freedom to be there for my family. That was my why. So think about it. What is it that you really want in life? What is your vision? Each one of these houses provided, and this is just a small number of houses I bought over the years, for something for my family. That house there is the one that I'm currently living in, and that was when it was distressed. This is my very first property. So this is your essentials to your success. And after building companies and working as a nurse, and my husband in the military, my son was in the military, I realized that what is the system after studying it? What is it that most real estate investors are lacking? And what is it that the real successful ones are doing? And the answer is your successful companies out there, your successful real estate investors all have a system. And all a system is a reliable, consistent, predictable result where you get it working once and it continues working on its own. And that's what I'm here today, to help you start building the framework for your system. Now, as I said, there are 3 keys to having a successful real estate system. The first thing is your marketing. You have to build that marketing money tree. Every business out there starts with marketing, whether it's word of mouth, knocking on doors, sending direct mail, however you do it. And we're going to talk about that today. The second piece is your negotiations. Now, your negotiations is just a $5 word for communication. Now, here's the thing. Most people don't know how to get started because they don't have the scripts or the right tools in front of them. And every Academy Award winner, Oscar winner out there takes a script and makes it great by making it their own. So we're going to start building your script tonight. And why do I use Yoda? Because he is wise. So, and he's cute. The third thing is having or being able to do creative deals. How do you create your deals? How do you use other people's money? How do you structure these properties, whether you're fixing and flipping, wholesaling, or buying to be a buy and home, even doing syndications? How can you structure these? So those are the 3 keys to a successful real estate system. So let's start first with your marketing. The first thing I get, people always groan when I talk about marketing. Nobody wants to talk about marketing, but marketing is the lifeblood of your business. Unless you just want to be a hobbyist and continue to struggle or sit on the fence, marketing is the key. So you first have to start by building your marketing money tree, creating that funnel. And to do that, you have to pick 3. You need to be able to go and pick 3 strategies, 3 ways to market, to find, and this is the key, write this down, motivated sellers with real estate problems. What is not marketing? Sending 1,000 letters out to absent out-of-state owners. In Arizona, when I lived there, what do we call an absent out-of-state owner? A snowbird. Nowadays, it could be somebody who owns vacation rentals or short-term rentals, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't create a need. You need to start with your direct mail. Now, direct mail is not dead. If you think about how many emails do you get a day, I probably average like 150 at least every day. And don't get me started on all the texts and everything else. How much mail do you get in your mailbox? I venture to say, most of you probably 4, 5, some days I get 1 or 2 letters. Direct mail is not dead. But the reason why it's not working for a lot of people is because you're not stacking your list and you're not thinking about who is your target. Everything you do needs to be strategic and have a purpose. So you need to first start with your seller avatar. And this is my favorite, and I invest all over the country. This is my favorite direct mail seller avatar. I don't go out there and do text messaging blasts, especially because of all the new legislations they've passed. I'm not going to go out there and do a bunch of emails to people that probably won't even open them. I'm not going to cold call a bunch of people because nobody likes cold calling. Do you like someone calling you and asking you questions, some stranger? I don't think so. But direct mail, when you're sending it out to a tired landlord who has owned their property for more than 10 years, it's vacant, or maybe you also combine that with or stack it with an eviction list from the courthouse, that's a tired, motivated landlord. So you have to think about what is the seller's motivation? What is their pain? And then you have to put in repetition and frequency. It's your repetition and frequency that equals the money. Marketing is not one and done. Marketing is all about that repetition and frequency. Over 80% of your responses are going to come after the 4th, 5th, or 6th mailing. Let me repeat that. Over 80% of your responses are going to come after that 4th, 5th, or 6th mailing. And when you combine it with a strategically marketed list, a great marketing piece, a letter going after motivated sellers, and the right envelopes, like I love Tiffany blue. I use a Tiffany blue envelope with the right stamp on it. I can get as high as a 27% response rate. Sure beats the usual 0.5 to 1%. So the cost of your marketing goes way down. Now, a lot of people weren't really too worried about their marketing up until this past year. This is a student of mine, Michelle Russell. She worked for Tony Robbins and ran the Rich Dad seminars. She's an experienced investor, but she found herself to be in a slump. All those old marketing stuff wasn't working for her. So I told her her solution is to list stack her marketing. So she started going after landlords. The problem is she called me up on what I call my lifeline calls, like a coaching call with me. I give 3 of them with my courses. And she says, oh my gosh, Maria, I totally blew it. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I went after the tired landlords who own the properties, but I wanted to do multifamily. And I messed up. And instead, I got all these single family guys calling me up. Well, that's wonderful. She's like, no, it's not. I blew money on this. I said, well, can you wholesale your mistakes? So this is what she did before Christmas last year. Her first property, she wholesaled for $17,000, the second one for $12,000, and the third for $7,000. So she got a nice little Christmas bonus of $36,000 just from having a targeted list. And she made a mistake. She didn't hit the multifamily filter. So she ended up with single family landlords. Not a problem there. We can wholesale these. Another thing is networking. Networking is a fantastic way to find motivated sellers. Think of the things you like to do. When I would go to horse shows, because I'm big in the horses, hunter jumpers, dressage, that kind of stuff. So a lot of people with money there. I tell them, hey, I love my horses, but you know, it's the investments that I could talk about until 3 o'clock in the morning. This is what I do. That's how I found my investors. In this case, Ernie, out in Arizona, we have what's called the Barrett-Jackson Car Show. I'm not sure if any of you are car enthusiasts. We have people that will fly in from all over the country to the Barrett-Jackson Car Show. I asked Ernie, I said, well, could you volunteer? You love these cars. So he got to volunteer to talk about the cars, drive the cars there, but then meet all of these really rich people and start talking with them and networking with them about real estate. And that's how he found his first investor. Another word, I heard somebody mention working with realtors. Right now, working with realtors is huge for me. I'm getting more deals through realtors that are having distressed properties that they can't sell, or some of them have pocket listings. So I'm closing on one on Monday from a realtor. I closed on one 2 months ago from a realtor. Another one that's really overlooked is working with wholesalers, talking to wholesalers about the properties that don't meet their buy box, meaning they can't get it at a low cash offer. Can you work with your wholesalers and start, instead of getting a low cash offer, talking to the seller about doing terms? You see, your wholesalers are pretty much, I'm sorry guys, I know I have some of you on here, but you guys are kind of like one-trick ponies. You only have one tool in your toolbox, and that's that low cash offer. Think about all the deals you could be doing if you know how to structure the deal. And that's what we're going to go over next. So the second part, we talked about your marketing. That's your foundation. The second part is going to be your negotiations. You need to be able to go out there and negotiate like a Jedi Master. The problem is most of you, when you do get in front of a seller or get one on the phone, excuse me, you're needy. And the reason why you're needy is because you haven't done step one, which is your marketing. And so you finally get a deal, you finally get a call, and you're going in from a standpoint of neediness. And neediness causes fear. Nobody wants to be around a needy person. And on top of that, it gets the seller wondering, what the heck is going on with this person? Why are they so desperate? What is going on here? And the other thing that's making some of you guys a little needy is anchoring, or scared, I should say, fearful, is your seller has anchored you to their price. Think about it. How many sellers go in there with a lowball offer when selling their property? Probably none. Instead, they're going in there with a pie in the sky kind of number that, you know, it's a distressed property, maybe it has a leaky roof, needs foundation, yards overgrown, all this stuff, but the money they want, their purchase price that they want you to buy it for is so high up that they've anchored you to that high number, and you're afraid to get them down to reality. So instead, you need to flip that around and become a fearless negotiator and anchor them to how low your offer is, to what you can do. So when you think about it, you're going to make more money and save more money than anything else out there through your negotiations. Now, I've trained with people all over the world, all over the country. And one of the most amazing masterminds I was in was with the #1 FBI hostage negotiator in the world. I was in his mastermind out in California, and many of you may know him. But you don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to become a negotiator. His book, Never Split the Difference, is a great book. It's an easy to read book. Start with there. But my first negotiators were these guys, these old school guys, and unfortunately, some of them aren't even around anymore. In the middle there, that's Jimmy Napier. He was my first negotiations course. Jimmy Napier is holding my son, who was only like 2 weeks old at the time. I went to the Legends of Real Estate thing. And I cherish this picture. Next to him, I have Pete Fortunato, there's John Schaub, Dykes, all those guys, Clyde, all those guys together. The old great guys who still go to real estate seminars, still teach you how to negotiate. So your negotiations is going to save you more money and make you more money than anything else out there. And you are going to use it in your real estate business and in your everyday life. You need to be out there negotiating everything. I have a new guy working for me, Noah, and he takes pride in his negotiations and saving the company money. He's always negotiating, whether it's at Ace Hardware, or YBC, whatever it is. He's always asked him, is that the best you can do? So write that down. Is that the best you can do? It's probably the #1 phrase we use. Now, because we have so many new people and I get some advancements here, I want to go over some terminology first. So let's first start talking about your ARV, your after repair value. This is the full market value of a property after it's all fixed up and drop dead gorgeous. So you take it from the before, which is a distressed property, and you make it pretty again. What is it going to sell for, or what did it sell for? That is the after repair value. The next thing is going to be your comps or your comparables. And I know we have some realtors on here, and probably about 50% of my students are realtors. However, I'm not a realtor. And even if I was, where do you think, put it in the chat box, guys, you've all been so quiet here. Put it in the chat box where you would go to get your comps, your comparables. Where is your seller going to go and get their comps to find out how much their property is worth? Nobody knows. REI Pro, that's a good source. Where do you think that seller is going to go? Zillow, ding, ding, ding. Absolutely. I use Zillow. I didn't say Zillow was accurate. Now, when I'm looking for comps on sold properties and stuff like that, yeah. But I want to know, what is the seller seeing on their property? Where are their expectations? So typically I'm going to Zillow and then I'm using other sources after that. But I need to know, what is that seller looking for? You can get by door knocking on doors, asking people, what do they think their property's worth? What do they think properties are going for in that area? What are they renting for? But the thing is you want to go after properties that are sold, not pending, not for sale, but sold in the same subdivision, the same neighborhood. And generally, I like to keep them within 90 days. And now your appraisers out there are going to probably go out 20% of the square footage, but I like to keep my numbers really tight. So I do about plus or minus 10% of the square footage. So a 1,200 square foot property, I'm not going to go and comp up against a 2,000 square foot property. I'm not going to go across a major highway or railroad tracks necessarily for the same comp. And then I'm looking at properties that are in similar condition. Next thing is your estimate of repairs. This is really important. So as an investor, you have to know how to figure out repairs. And there are two sets of repairs. You're going to have your repairs to flip and your repairs to rent. Generally speaking, and it's going to vary from area to area in the country, but in most areas, it's about materials plus labor come roughly to $5,000 per week. So for a 12-week rehab, you're at about $60,000. I'm doing a rehab right now, and we're at about 8,000, because I'm a numbers person, I calculate it. We're at about $8,333 per week on that property. So keep track of, what are your trades? What are your materials? Materials are going to go up and down. And that's really easy to do with Home Depot and talking to other contractors. I'm also a licensed general contractor as well. I'm one of the few women GCs out there. So with all this terminology, you need to know how to make offers. And the easiest formula is your MAO, or your maximum allowable offer. And that's when you take the after repair value of a property, multiply it by the discount percentage you want, and then subtract your repairs. So how does that look? In this case, let's do an example. Your after repair value on a property is $200,000. The repairs that it needs, so say it's a 12-week rehab, is about $60,000. So when you go to look to buy it or negotiate it with the seller, you're going to take $200,000, multiply it by 70%, because I like 70% discounts. The house I'm in, I got it at a 55% discount. The one I just bought was at, oh gosh, I think that one was at like a 35% discount. So whatever discount you want to get, I really probably never go over 70%. So that would come to $140,000 minus $60,000 in repairs, which means the maximum I can offer the seller is $80,000 on their property. Now, that's the max. So I have to start much lower than that. For those of you who want to be wholesalers out there, you have to now figure out your wholesaling fee. Where I'm at, most properties, the wholesalers are getting anywhere from a minimum of $10,000 to $20,000 per wholesale deal. Get whatever you can. There is no limits, but you're going to have to start even lower. So if you want a $10,000 wholesale fee, that means you've got to start below $70,000. So this is the part that makes people kind of nervous, because you see a seller that wants $150,000 and there's like, that's the price of a really nice house, and their house needs $60,000 in work. So what you need to do is anchor them. Say, oh, man, you're going to hate me. I wish I could give you what you want. I don't even want to tell you what I would offer you. And when you start anchoring your seller to how low, and that you don't want to tell them, your seller wants your price. So you get them to promise not to be mad at you. You say, hey, listen, I'll tell you, but man, I really don't want you to be mad at me. Now, if you're afraid to give them a set number, you can give them a range. That'll make you feel better. But make sure the top of your range is still well below your MAO. Because if you're offering someone $50,000 to $60,000 on your property, or you're thinking might be more like $50,000, what did they hear? 60. So you've got to do that. And the other thing is, make sure that you always have at least a yellow pad to write your offers down. Now, when you're making your offers, there are two things that you are negotiating on: price versus terms. The seller wants price, meaning their price is high. Well, then I need to get my terms, and vice versa. If their terms is all cash, I got to get my price, which is that low offer. So you're negotiating on the purchase price, how much down, if any, how much per month, how long, what is the terms? I haven't done, I think the shortest seller carryback I've done was 7 years. So I get out as far as I can. Most of mine are 14 to 20 years out there. So here's one of the houses that I've done. And this was Gloria's family home. Is it okay if I show you guys, or I mean, if this is good, you know, put in the chat in the chat box if you want me to show you how I negotiate with a seller and talk them through doing a deal. That good? Okay, I got one person. Anybody else want to see? I mean, because I'm serious. If you guys don't need this, you know, I'll move on. But if you want to see how to negotiate and how to walk a seller through making your offers, let's go.
You got them going now. All the ones
There
are
we go.
coming in.
Now the ones are coming in. Now everybody's waking up. All right. So I told you, I always bring a yellow pad with me. At the top of my sheet of paper, I put 127 Cole Street. That's where the address was. I put the seller's present situation on one side and their future situation on the other side. I want to see where they are, and I want to take them to where they can be. And all I do is I start asking them questions. You start to have a conversation. Be curious. Be like that 2-year-old that wants to know everything about an inanimate object, everything about whatever. So I want to know everything about the seller. I want to know what their motivation is. I want to know what's going on with the property. I want to know how old it is, if it's been in the family, have they been having tenant problems, what it will rent for, how often are they turning it over, why do you want to sell such a nice property? You're making all this money on it. So that is exactly what I start asking Gloria. I asked them, why not hire a property manager? Oh, have you heard about these property managers? They're stealing money. They're going to send me repair bills for nothing. They can't keep a tenant in there. So in this case, Gloria was selling her mom's home. She had a tenant in there. The tenant had just moved out, was a Section 8 tenant paying $825 per month. Gloria wants to move to a warmer climate, but her mom was just diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Now, this is what I know about most mothers and daughters, or most kids and their parents. If your mom is diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, you're not planning to move unless you don't think they're going to survive, meaning you're planning to move, but you don't think they're going to live. So I asked Gloria about the money. What does your mom need the money for? She says, I want my mom to have money however long she has left. So that right there tells me, okay, this is pretty serious what's going on. If you were to keep the property, what would you do? What would you change? What would you update? Is there anything you'd want to do to it? So I found out she thought that the electrical panel needed to be updated. It didn't. It was a nice 200 amp panel, but it was a little rusty on the outside. And then her mom lived next door and the sewer lines were connected. So she thought she needed to separate that, I guess. Now, on the future situation, right there, because they've owned it for 20 years, you should start thinking about taxes. And every real estate investor, whether you're a buy and hold person, a fix and flipper, commercial, whatever, you need to understand real estate and taxes. So I know that as a landlord, they're going to get hit with depreciation recapture. Whether they've taken it or not, the IRS is going to hit them up with it. They're also, their basis is going to go up quite a bit. They're going to have a huge gain from what they bought it at to where it is now. The answer to limit, not eliminate, but limit their tax that they're going to have to pay in is on an installment sale. So I tell Gloria, hey, listen, I'm not an accountant. I'm not, a CPA. I'm not a tax attorney. You really should go out and seek advice, because it looks like, and I only know this from being a landlord, but it really seems like you are going to get hit with a huge, or your mom is going to get hit with a huge tax event when she sells this property. It could be, 42% or higher. So then I continue and I said, okay, tired of tenants, no more tenants. Daughter no longer has to property manage it. Gloria's sick of it. She can move. Mom can have money to live off of. No more repairs. Take care of the electrical upgrades. So these are all the things, all of the benefits to them. And then I asked them, well, what do you believe the property would rent for? So they think it would now rent for $950. I happen to know, and I don't write this on my sheet, but I know that from market, I stay in the same areas, that the property would rent in its current condition without doing anything to it for $1,300 a month all day long. You know, it's because I own the property across the street and I own the one 2 doors down. So know your areas. So when it comes to structuring my offers, I use a yellow sheet, a yellow pad of paper. Now, Gloria, if you look over here, is asking $170,000 on this property. The property really is only worth, like, I would say, you know, it's kind of dated, probably right between 160 and 165. Repairs to flip it is $40,000. Repairs to rent it is nothing. They already cleaned it, they already painted it, it's rent ready. The after repair value on this property is about $180,000. So you're going to make 3 offers. And I always start with the one trick pony, all low cash offer. But when I'm telling them, I said, listen, I can't give you anything. I'm upfront. I'm honest with them. I'm not BSing them. I'm saying, listen, I see you want $170,000. I don't even want to tell you what my offer is. You're going to hate me. There's no way I can give you what you want. What happens when you tell somebody you're not going to tell them what they want? You're not going to tell them what you're offering them. They want to know. So I said, okay, I'm going to tell you, but you've got to promise you're not going to be mad at me and throw me out. So I write down offer number 1, $86,000 cash. Now you think that made her a little upset? I don't know, because rather than dwell on that, I went on to offer 2. And I said, listen, it seems like this is nowhere close to what you want, but I can do certain things that other investors can't do. And I'm sure you've had a ton of investors in here all giving you lowball offers, you know, seeming slimy, like they don't care. And I do what's called an accusations audit on investors, because I might as well say what she's thinking. So I said, listen, I can, and I told her to close in 14 days because she wanted to close fast, and my title company can get done in typically 14 days. So I write offer number 2. This is your middle of the road offer. This is where I'm giving him somewhere in between the two, but for purchase price. So in this case, $135,000. I'm going to give her something down now. Now I'm starting to talk terms. So $30,000 down, $530 per month until paid. How did I come up with that? Well, I know, talking with Gloria, I said, listen, if your mom is making $825 on this rental, she's got taxes, she's got insurance, she should probably be taking maintenance. Hopefully you're taking a management fee. Your vacancy rate's probably going to be about 0.5%. So these are your expenses. So she's probably what, bringing in only between $500 and $550. All of a sudden they look at you like, oh my God, that's right. So I come up with how much per month based on that. So I know that $535 per month is what she's living off of on this property right now. Offer number 3 is going to be your highest dollar offer, your highest purchase price. Sometimes it's a little over asking, sometimes it's slightly under, right in there. This time I offered her $165,000 because I really didn't need to do anything to the property. Now, my purchase price on this one is also going to be higher. I did $687 per month until paid. But notice what I didn't put in here. There's no money down. This is a no money down offer. Now, this is the point where most people are like, oh, well, pick A, B, or C. A confused mind says no. And none of these are really what she wants. So this is where you have to start addressing that white elephant in the room. You have to start talking to them, find out what they want. I said, hey, Gloria, it seems like there's got to be something in here you like. Typically, they're like, no, I don't like any of this. I said, well, and this is why I bring a multi-pen with different colors with me. I said, well, it sounds like cash is important to you. So right across the top, I write cash above the $86,000. So right away, they're seeing the 86 cash. It's like, yeah, no, I don't want that. So, well, can we at least agree that you want cash? And she's like, yep. I said, okay, well, in order for me to give you cash, let's think about this. So the other thing that seems like is important to you is the purchase price. It seems like price is important to you. Would you have anything against $165,000? And then you're quiet. You've got to listen. You've got to stop talking. You've got to let them process it. Then I go on. I said, well, I can give you some cash and I can give you your price. But in order for me to do that, I need more time. Now you have to start finding out and write this down. Down payments solve problems. What do they need the money for? Typically, it's because the bank says you have to put 20% down. So they're thinking they need to have 20% down. Sometimes it's a matter of trust. They don't know you, so they want more money down. In this case, I asked Gloria, what does your mom need the money for? It sounds like you have something in mind. So Gloria's like, well, mom has $10,000 in medical bills. It's really important to her to pay off those medical bills. I said, well, I can understand that. So I write $10,000. And then they had an RV alongside the house. I said, well, this is completely off subject, but I noticed you had an RV outside. Can you tell me about that? So Gloria started telling me about the vacations and the trips that her and her sister would take with their mom. And I said, well, what if we would you have anything against us throwing in another $5,000 so that you guys can have one last vacation with your mom, maybe in the old RV, maybe in a resort. And then throw in another $5,000 if you don't have any objections to cover all your closing costs. So instead of being at $30,000, I am now down at $20,000 down. And I said to Gloria, I said, listen, I can give you some cash down. I can give you your purchase price of $165,000. And I can give you money every month. But in order for me to do that, because I'm giving you so much more down, and because, I've almost doubled what I was going to pay, what I could pay for the house, would you have anything against instead getting $631.37 per month? Here's the thing. Odd numbers seem more real. And that's very important for you to write down. Odd numbers seem real. Whose mortgage ends in all zeros? Whose car payments ends in all zeros? Almost no one's. So that is how I take the seller through the 3 offers and come up with a 4th offer, or the hybrid offer that they accept. Now, every property, you need to have multiple exit strategies. Strategy number 1 was a buy and hold. Strategy number 2 is to house hack it. It's near a university. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I could do what's called a pad split or student rental and rent it by the room for $600 per room at $1,800 per month. I could do a rent to own or a lease with an option to purchase for $1,500 per month. And now my only expenses are the taxes and insurance. Because it's near Penn State, yes, I live near Penn State, I could rent it during graduation months and football months for $6,000 per month all day long. I could do a midterm rental to visiting professors, averaging about $2,200 per month. So let's talk about the numbers on that. Did you see here? 3rd line down, or 4th if you count the title line. Interest is at 0%. Interest never came up. So those of you guys who are like, oh my God, if the property was worth $145 and you're paying $165, how could you overpay like that? I'm paying 100% principal on a 4.5%, 5% mortgage interest. You are paying 1.5 to 2 times the cost of that property over a 30-year loan. This is going down all principal, and it's over and done with in 19.14 years. My payment, $631.37. My expenses, $464. That's taxes, insurance, maintenance, management fee, even though I manage all my properties myself, you got to pay yourself first. Write that down. It's very important. You want to run a business, pay yourself first. Got to eat, got to put gas, got to have money for mailing. And then the vacancy rate in there. So my total profit after year one is $2,455.56. Not bad on a property that I'm getting at 0% down. Now, some of you are like, I don't have the money. Could I have partnered with another investor who has the money? Absolutely. Why? Because a buy and hold guy doesn't have to come in and get a mortgage. They're coming in with $20,000 on a cash flowing property. And maybe he also needs the tax write-off on it. So there's other write-offs that they can get. Stop thinking about what someone won't do and start thinking about what someone might do on it. You could wholesale it as well. Now on a lease option at $1,800 per month, now I'm just paying taxes and insurance. I get a $5,000 option fee. My total profit at the end of year one is $17,043.56. I have a tenant buyer in there. I'm almost in it for no money. Year one almost pays off my down payment. And your rents are going to increase every year. As a midterm rental, $2,200 per month, total profit year one, $13,255.56. You could do that as well. But the thing is you've got to get out of your comfort zone. I've started giving you or laying the foundations right now for you to have your scripts. This is Nancy and Raul. Nancy during COVID decided that she wanted to give up teaching. She just had enough. She had a daughter that was struggling with learning. And so her husband was already a flipper, but they were having problems finding properties. And they wanted to start looking for retirement. The thing about flipping and wholesaling is it's work. It's not passive, it's active investing. She wanted to start building that passive part. And what is retirement? Retirement is when you have enough money coming in to pay off all your bills and your thrills passively. So she attended a RIA, and right afterwards, just by nailing down her tired landlord, that avatar, mailing out the list, she also did driving for dollars. She got her first 2 properties from an out-of-state landlord who had an eviction on one of them and the other one had been vacant for a couple of years. Same guy. From there, she was able to retire as a full-time teacher. Was she nervous? Absolutely. She used to make her calls so her husband wouldn't hear from her closet. That was how she started. And she'd follow a script. Anybody can follow a script. So the third thing that you have to be able to do is creating your deals. You have to be able to create deals out of thin air. This is part 3. Remember, the first part was your marketing, then your negotiations. Now it's creating those deals. To think about it, do you have all the deals you want? Or is there always room for just one more? And as Rockefeller said, you make more money by using less of your own. Deals are made and not found. And it doesn't take any creativity. You just have to be able to follow a process, to be coachable, be teachable. And right now, the #1 strategy that everybody's hearing about is subject to deals. And what is subject to existing financing? So let's talk about that real quick. In a subject to deal, the existing financing that a homeowner or seller has is taken over by an investor. The seller is not paying off their existing mortgage. You, the investor, the buyer, is taking over the payments on that mortgage. The paid balance of the existing mortgage is then calculated as part of your purchase price. So what in the heck does all this mean? First of all, a subject to deal is a form of seller financing. Just like the one I did with Gloria, which was straight seller financing or an installment sale, this is also a form of seller financing. It's a type of installment sale. Why? Because you're paying the property on installments. This is an informal assumption of mortgage. What is an assumption of mortgage? A true assumption of mortgage is when you're asking the bank permission and your name is replacing the seller's on that debt, on that mortgage. We're not doing that. I'm not asking for permission. The deed is going to go in your name. So you agree every month to pay the seller's mortgage on their behalf. The seller remains on that mortgage, but the title, you're recording with the title. I don't care what they're saying in YouTube land. You're always using a title attorney or a title company, depending on where you're investing, and making sure that that property has a clear title. You're making sure that there's no arrearages on it. And if there are, you need to make those up. It is not illegal. On a HUD-1, there are two lines, the buyer and the seller side, and it both says subject to. Here's the thing though, I am on a mission to teach people how to do this legally, morally, and ethically right. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of junk out on YouTube land and everything else, and all by the influencers out there that are teaching it wrong. And investors are getting hurt, and even worse, these homeowners that are already hurting are getting destroyed because people who have no business doing this and are learning from people who have never done it before, which is part of the reason why I created my system, was because I got really tired of always trying to find the pieces that were missing. So I'm on a mission to teach you how to do this the right way. So as a student of mine, Ben, he was shooting me a text message because he had just got, just short of $10,000 on netting $1 million this past year in profit, net profit. And he said that there's no shot he would have been here. Now, he was fixing and flipping properties and wholesaling. He averaged about 8 deals per month. Average deal with wholesaling was about $22,000. The thing is the market has changed. And now he wanted to know how to do subject to, because after wholesaling and flipping, and that's going down and it's harder to do, he has no passive income coming in. So he wants to know, how can I do these subject to deals? And as a wholesaler, he keeps coming across people that would be perfect to do a subject to deal, but there's no way he can make the numbers work as a wholesaler. So it's another valuable tool in your toolbox. So he got on what's called a lifeline call with me. We talked about, and then we did a group coaching session with everybody on how to do these subject to deals. So what is a subject to deals? Again, can you tell? I like tired landlords. The reason why I like tired landlords is they're motivated. And I tell someone when I'm talking to them about doing a subject to deal, and all of you should be telling your sellers this, I am not your first choice. I am your last choice. As my husband likes to say, I qualify myself by disqualifying myself. But here's the thing, you are in a marriage with somebody. I do not want a seller to do a subject to deal unless it's a hell yes, and I'm just in so much pain, I just want to be out from under this beast. And that was Joe's case. He had tenants that didn't respect him. The property was cash flowing. And I followed up with him for 9 months. Remember when I told you it's all about repetition and frequency? You've got to be doing the follow-up. One night, and again, I do the same thing, yellow sheet of paper, present situation, future situation. His wife was about to have a baby, and he had bought the property 7 years ago. His buddies had moved in. He was in college at the time. Everything was great until he got married. Then he became a landlord. He knew nothing about landlord. His tenants would call him up to change a light bulb. And that's what happened. One night at about 8:30 at night, his tenants called him up and said, hey, Joe, the hall light went out. We need you to come over and change it. Seriously? The next morning, he called me up at like 8:30. He's like, Maria, I'm done. I don't care. Let the damn thing burn down. I'm not going to make the mortgage payments. I'm over it. Now, he went to a realtor first. The realtor told him he needed to come in with money. He didn't have a ton of money. And even though he was cash flowing $700 a month, he was spending the $700. He wasn't saving it. So because my system is online, all the forms are downloadable, change with their boilerplate templates, I was able to call Joe back and say, hey, Joe, let's meet 30 minutes around the corner from you is a Starbucks. I do a lot of business at Starbucks. I was able to take out my simple, easy 2-page fillable contract, write in the conditions of the sale, put in that was subject to, He signed it electronically, I signed it electronically, and we sent it over and opened up escrow right then and there. Here's the thing. I told him, no more tenant headaches. You no longer have to manage the property. You'll be able to sleep at night. You don't have to worry about those mortgage payments. Closing costs on this property was just $1,300. And this particular property was in Arizona. So I could house hack it for $1,800 per month. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, right by Arizona State University. And remember, I said, you've got to have multiple exit strategies. So the closing costs, $1,300. How many of you think, seriously, could come up with $1,300 to close on a property that's going to make you $4,000 a year? You've tripled your money. I'm sure you'd find a way. I see no one can come up with this. How many of you would find someone to partner with? No one would partner on this deal? Is it not enough meat in it? I mean, $1,300 a month for a cash flowing property, or $1,300, excuse me, for closings. Or did you all go to sleep? I think you guys all went to sleep on me. Let me take you through this deal. We paid $1,300 in closing costs, nothing down. The payment to the mortgage company every month was $521, 23 years left on the mortgage. If it was just a straight rental at $1,300 a month, we would be cash flowing $344. Now, my discrepancy between Joe's $700 and my $344 is Joe wasn't including maintenance, taxes, insurance, vacancy rates, any of that stuff in there. I put it in there. Not asleep right now, so it's awesome. So your profit from this one deal is $4,128. Now, because I said you have to have multiple exit strategies, if I did it as a student rental, now my rent is $1,800 per month. I increased it by $500. My profit every month is $935. By the end of month 2, I've broke even on my expenses on it. At the end of year 1, I'm at $11,220. That is huge. So imagine if you got only one house per month and you did it as a student rental. From just 12 properties, you can be making $134,640 a year from 12 little properties. That's more than some of you are making right now. For some of you, 12 properties, you were 12 properties away from retirement. Imagine that. It's more than I was making as a nurse, more than most nurses make right now. And you've got your time, your family, and your freedom back. Now, say you don't want to own them. Say you've got the seller's permission, and that's the only way I do it, and you want to wholesale them. Say you're in a state that allows for wholesaling. Don't do it in Chicago. Because I know there's a lot of states that are trying to do away with wholesaling. You could also do a double close, but you could wrap it. And the only way I'd wholesale a property would be on a wrap. But I was offered $20,000 wholesale fee for a property that's $20,000 underwater. You get 12 of those a year, that's now $240,000. Imagine what that would do for you, because you don't want to be a landlord. Partner with somebody else who does want to be a landlord and continue to get a piece of the pie. So you can either get 134 or 240 from just 12 little properties. Now I see some of you like probates. This is another student of mine, Sherry. One of her 3 that she went after was probate sellers. She's a 51-year-old daycare worker. At the time, she was making like $24,000 a year as a single mom. She started with the quick start. It's a 5-week get you up and going to get your first deal done. She only had a few dollars for marketing. So she went to the courthouse herself and pulled her probate list. She spreadsheeted them out. She didn't even have a computer, guys, okay? Here's the problem. Diseases in the head. What you believe you can do, you're right. What you believe you can't do, you're right. She wanted to do this. So she went to her friend's house, used her friend's computer, or went to the library. She sent out her mailing list, very, very targeted list. Her first call, or her first mailing, she got her first call. Thankfully, she'd also printed out the call script right there. She watched the videos on her. She had a Samsung phone. She watched all the video trainings and everything right on there. Because she had her call script, she was able to go through and talk to the seller and find out what was her problem. It was a seller whose significant other of 7 years had passed away. She was 3 months behind on her mortgage. She got to find out how much she owed, what her mortgage payment was, what condition the house was in. So her next call she did was to me, where we sat down on a Lifeline call, and I was able to take her, because she had all the information there in the call script. I was able to take her through how to negotiate a subject to deal, how to walk the property. Sure, I'd never done it before, and put together a deal that made Sherry $54,000, on her very first deal. Her son was able to start college, but most importantly, Sherry got her self-esteem back. She didn't think she could do it, and she did it. Now, this is the part where I want you to take out your cameras. You see, whether it's the military, being a nurse, whatever, has a checklist. You have to know your steps. This is my son, Alexander, when he was in the United States Marine Corps, the day that he graduated from School of Infantry, top of his class. Launching mortars, excuse me, I can't talk. Do you think those guys are using a checklist? Absolutely, 100%. Because if they don't use a checklist, they can die, or mortars can go in bad places. My husband was a C-130 navigator. He used to drop Delta guys. He was in the first Gulf War, all this stuff. You think they're using a checklist? Absolutely. As a nurse, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which is really more of an algorithm, but it's a checklist nonetheless, saves lives. Everything I did as a trauma nurse, we ran like a well-oiled machine because we had checklists. We knew what to do and when to do it. Ever been on an airplane? Your crew, your pilot, before the pilot even gets on the plane, he's outside, walking the plane, going through his checklist. Why? Because if something happens in the air, it's not like you can just pull over. People die. So you need to have a checklist when doing these. So I want you to take a picture of my subject to checklist. This is a checklist that's going to keep you out of trouble. In the course in the system, I have all your disclosures. I have your purchase and sales agreement. But on your checklist, you have to make sure that you're checking everything off. You have to make sure that you are getting copies of the seller's mortgage statements. You don't want to be like, oops, I forgot to do that, and be at the closing table and find out they're not $3,500 in arrearages, but $57,000 in arrearages. That's a huge mistake. All right, you've got to make sure that you have an affidavit of liens. You need to make sure that the title work is done. You need to make sure that you have a letter to notify the HOA of the address changes, the limited power of attorney. You have to have all of this stuff right down here. And then I make sure I find out if there's a lead paint. I get a seller property disclosure statement from them. It's a SPUDS. Why? Because it makes it look real to them, and I want to know what's going on with that property. I get a reinstatement of loan verification if it's been in foreclosure. So there's all these documents that you need to make sure that you have. House keys, garage door open. You forget a garage door open, that can be $150 fee for each one. Alarm codes. You don't want to be like me and on vacation with your family when your contractor calls because you didn't know there was an alarm on the property and the alarms are all going off because your electrician cut power to the property and they're all pissed at you. So find out if there's an alarm code. Luckily for that seller, I stay in contact with them. I was able to call her up, say, hey, so apparently there's an alarm on this property. Do you happen to have that code? Boom, done. So you've got to have everything down on here. And above all else, when you're doing your subject to deals, you have to make sure you have your disclosures. Nobody ever talks about the disclosures. I have the due on sales clause disclosure. I have a disclosure telling the seller that I am not intending to sell the property and pay off the mortgage, that it's going to be kept in place for whatever the terms of that mortgage is, whatever left on it. I have a disclosure saying that to the seller that you may not be able to qualify for another mortgage. There's things we can do, but I'm not going to promise you can. Why? I don't know who their underwriter might be. That's the other reason why I love doing these with landlord properties, because I don't have to worry about where the landlord's going to go. I do have to worry about where is that seller going to go. So you need to make sure you have your disclosures. So this is Sherry.
My first call, my first scheduled appointment, and then my first contract done. All in one day. Yeah, that was a little overwhelming, but exciting.
Good feeling.
Like it can be done. This can be done.
So she never was worried about her funding. She was able to find somebody else to help her out. She never let her mindset get in the way of doing the deal. And now she's out there successful, happy. Like I said, never thought this could be done. Changed her life. So today you learned about how to find more deals in today's market, doing your direct mail, narrowing down that seller, stacking those lists, working with realtors, creating your buy box, telling the realtor what it is you're looking for, working with wholesalers, going after the probates. Like I said, in the course, we have 100 different ways to find it, but how you can stack your list and build your seller avatar. That's one change that produced $36,000 in only 1 month for Michelle. And this was her and her husband in Hawaii. Today, you learned how to talk with sellers and become their only logical choice. You walk the seller through their problems and overcome their objections. You're just having a communication, a conversation, communicating with them. It's how Nancy was able to get 2 properties under contract in our first month after the workshop. You have Ben, who went from doing 0 deals per month to averaging 8 deals per month, and he grossed $2 million his first year of real estate. The trick for Ben was letting things simmer, not going in with all that slick, taking the time to negotiate and sit down with the seller. And you can look up Ben Algar on Instagram. He's a very successful investor now at 24 years old when he started out. The third thing you learn is how to have a creative strategy for every deal, how to structure your offers, what is a subject to deal. And that was what turned Sherry from being insecure and thinking of herself as just a daycare worker to a vivacious businesswoman. You can use these strategies to fix and flip properties, to wholesale on multifamilies. You can do it on commercials. Each one of these properties can represent freedom, can represent, for my daughter, she's blind. When she was in school, I had to put her in specialized education. The schools wanted to stick her in the hallway and make her a pass-fail child. Without real estate, she never would have had the dream of becoming a lawyer today. You can use these strategies to buy your dream home. This is my 8,635 square foot property that I bought when I lived in, this is the property that brought me to central Pennsylvania, that I bought pretty much sight unseen other than looking at it through FaceTime by sending pulling the list. She was in foreclosure, sending her a letter. My husband was going to Philly to go see his mom. I asked him to, hey, by the way, honey, since you're going to be in the neighborhood, would you mind door knocking? His mom lived 4 hours away. I got him to say yes first. But because he knocked on the door, no one was home. He went across the street. He knocked on the neighbor's door. Bill Lucan answered. He thought that she wanted to sell. Guess where she was, guys? In Boston. That's where she wanted to move back to. She was in Boston visiting her family. And I was able to negotiate a short sale on the second, a subject to on a first, and get a private money lender to come in with about $125,000 to close on the deal. So you're using multiple strategies. And now I was going to flip this house, but we made over $500,000 on it. Family loved it. We moved in during COVID. So you can do it. So you have to start thinking, why are you here? What is it you want? Is it your family? Is it having your life back? Is it inflation? You have more month than money. Your bills have built up and you have more bills than you have money to pay them off. My favorite one was, I had it. My job was someone else's passive income. And I felt trapped And I was worrying, a lot of you are worrying you don't have enough to retire. 12 houses in that example means retirement for some of you. You're concerned about the cost of college. I have another daughter who wants to become a doctor. God love her. Don't know why. It's everything she's ever wanted to be, just like my husband. I don't want her to graduate $300,000 in debt. I want her to be like her sister who became an attorney and graduated with 0 in debt. Are you running out of time? You know, do you want to take the next 14 to 40 years to figure it out? Or do you want to get it done in 5 years or less? You want more life in your life, not more work in your life. Here's the thing. No one ever died saying, darn it, I really wish I worked more. No. On your deathbed, you're going to be thinking, oh my God, I had a great life. I retired myself early and got to spend with my time with my family. Got to take vacations when I wanted to. Are you afraid you'll make a costly mistake? Or you don't know enough to do a deal? That kept me sitting on the fence for 2 years, going to Maria, listening to everybody who came into town who had incomplete systems and not knowing what to do. And then the biggest fear for many of you is you don't know what to do when you get a deal. You're more afraid of them not saying no, but of that seller saying yes, because then what? Then what do you do? So it's that missing piece. That's why you're here. So when I talk about a system, I talk about something that's repeatable, duplicatable. You get it working once and it continues working over and over again. Talk about a system that has all the checklists, that's compliant, that's legal, that doesn't have any holes in it for you, that has the boilerplates. This is the system I built from what I wish I had. So when we talk about it, if you go to my website, and I don't want you to go there because on the website, it's listed for $5,588. What we're offering you is a complete package. It's 3 courses consisting of your marketing, which also has your quick start in it. It's a bonus, get up and running 5 weeks or less. Your ninja negotiations, which has over a dozen different negotiation strategies in it. And your little to no money down investing, which is your creative deal strategies course. Then you have your bonuses, the fix and flip wealth builder, your lease option elite training, and your 3 lifeline coaching calls. And then this past year, we added a 4th one, which is our group coaching, your tactical drill downs. What I want to do, and like I said, there are 3 great, amazing courses, but what I want to do real quick is I want to actually, because I don't get to do this very often because we don't do many online ones, is I want to quick show you what the course actually looks like. Can you see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. I think we can. Perfect. So this is the course. This is the home page. When you go into, and you can see, if you click on my trainings, you're going to see that this retails for $5,588. I don't want you to pay that. I want you to pay because I get it. Life can be rough for some of you. Money can be of a concern. So that's why we're doing it for $12.97. Duncan, when I met him in June, he's like, hey, you know, people are coming out of COVID. Things are rough. Cut me a deal. So we start with the rapid sequence investing. This is your quick start. You click on the quick start, you go in there. This has over 32 lessons in it. They're full lessons. You start with your wealth builder blueprint. And I update this all the time. This has the video, which takes you through. You just click on the video and it takes you through your numbers. Where are you at? How many properties do you need to get to cover your bills and your
the
thrills?
house you want. You want
We
to
talk
have
about your house payment, your mortgage payment.
house or
Then
home, we'll call
how
it.
much marketing do you need to do to cover all of those? There is also a downloadable PDF that goes with it. Let me see if I can find it. I think I tried to download it beforehand. So, yep. This is the PDF that goes along with it. It's me taking you step by step through your numbers. Now, these are my numbers. You fill in your numbers. But then we start talking about what are your sources? What are your daily, your weekly goals? All of that is right in there. That's where you need to start. And then when you go back, we also have, go back to my library, I almost skipped over it, the lifeline bonus or the free coaching calls. You click on the get in touch button and it brings up my calendar. You can schedule your coaching call right there. It says 15 minutes. Most coaching calls are 30 to 45 minutes. I don't limit you. but I want to know what you need it for. Then when you go down, we have the creative deal making. This is your little to no money down course. This is another 30 different lessons. It's all about seller financing, using other people's money, presenting offers to sellers. We have your subject twos in here, how they work, what they are, your subject to purchase and sales agreement. It's very important. We walk you through how to do it. We have question and answers under every lesson. So if there's something you want to know, this was from Oscar. He wanted to know about first right of refusals because he's heard me talk about it and mortgage payments and all this stuff. So he wanted the languaging for it. He asked on November 22nd. I got him the language by November 30th. So I could get him the first right of refusal language right in there. The reason why I like the Q&A sessions is because everybody can see it. Then when it comes to your subject to offer purchase agreement, oops, there we go. Download it right to your phone, your laptop, whatever. And it's in a doc format. You don't have to retype it. You just click on it and type in, I'll say John Smith, wherever there's a gray button, that's where you need to fill in. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3. You can change things. You know what? Partnership, individual. Say you don't want to put that partnership part in. Boom, you just delete it. Say you don't want my logo. I wouldn't want my logo on there. You just delete it. And then you click save, and right there, you have everything you need to do a subject to deal on there. The special languaging, the stipulations, all of that stuff right in there. Where they sign. Let me go on to the next. There we go. So that's important. How many of you would that save you? Think about it. Having the boilerplate templates right there for everything you need. Going back to categories. We also cover wholesaling, also under profiting from other people's mortgages. We cover wraparound mortgages, assumables. So we go into all the nitty gritty on that. Notice to insurance company. Again, remember, I'm talking to you about your disclosures. You have it right there. It's easy. It's downloadable. You click on it, save it, and there it is. Notice to the insurance company. So you have everything right there for you. So you don't have to go out and hunt for it. Now, here's the thing. My paperwork is never, no one's paperwork is ever going to be compliant in all 50 states and all thousands of cities. But what is more cost effective? Taking someone else's paperwork to your attorney and saying, hey, look this over, make sure that I'm compliant, or having that attorney go and write it from scratch. Some of the stuff, my tenants in common agreement for private money, I spent $10,000 on that document getting it right. One of your bonuses is the lease option elite training. You just click on it, bring it up. It's 14 lessons. It goes over landlording, lease options, buying on a lease option, selling on a lease option, so rent with an option to pay. This one, I have your lease agreement in it. Again, you just click on it. And I've redone it as well. So when I revise it, I can load it right up into the site. You get a notification, hey, there's new documents. And there it is. Again, same thing. Landlord. I Love Property LLC. Oops. And then you just save it. Wherever you see it, you go in there. Now you have to make sure that this lease agreement is compliant with your cities. There's a lot of things that cities are changing. I have to change one of my leases that's over in Arizona because they passed new ordinances that's not compatible with or compliant with. But it's a heck of a lot easier to use this. I've only had 3 evictions in 15 years. That's why. So here where you say, per Arizona code, erase it. Where I'm in Pennsylvania, I put Pennsylvania code in the section right there. Boston, same thing. But it has all the languaging in there. We talk about pets, we talk about late fees, we talk about deposits. Everything is in there for you. And again, you just click save and you got it. The tactical drill down section is the next thing I really want to show you real quick here. And this is our monthly group coaching calls. I don't have time to take you through everything. We're almost out of time here. But this is the one I was telling you about. We did a subject to real estate investing training. You get the full video for it. It was an hour and 4 minutes, this one. And we have the notes from it. And here are the comments from it. This was Celeste. She loved it. The drill downs for being clear, concise, directly to the point. We also go over deal structuring on these monthly group coaching sessions, and we do them every month. The one for this month is next week, Thursday. You sign up tonight, you'll be in the Thursday session. It's where people from all over the country come together.
Awesome, Maria. Now we just got to find out how to get it.
Oh, you want me to talk about how to get it? Okay. So I will move over to how to get it. Let me get back to my slide deck. Do you guys have in the chat box the link? If
It
not,
just came up on the link.
oh, okay, perfect. So let me bring up my PowerPoint really quick and I'll give you the QR code. This is the part where you get your cameras out. So in the QR code, this is the courses. And again, they are accessible on a laptop, on a desktop, tablet, iPhone, and we have all the Commons Q&A sessions all in there. In order to get it, let me bring up the part with the QR code. Here we go. So all 3 of the courses, plus the bonuses. And like I said, you know what? Life is hard. I get it. A lot of you have, limited funds. So we don't want you to pay $5,588. Instead, we just want to do it for the one time, no membership fees, no ever pay me again, because Duncan wouldn't go for that anyways. No weasel clauses of just $12.97. What you need to do is take your phone, open up the camera on your phone, scan the QR code. It'll take you right to the checkout page. On that checkout page, it tells you also about the course again. You put in your name, your email, and your credit card. It is a secured online portal. You will get, as soon as your credit card processes, you will get a welcome email from me and instant access to the courses tonight. So no waiting. If for some reason you do not see an email, check your junk folder or your spam folder. There's newer ICANN spam stuff that has gone through. And sometimes because it is an auto-generated email, it might go to your junk, or do a search for realestateprofitsystem.com, all keywords. You can see it right there too. And you will get your welcome email that gets you in there right away. My objective in this is to get you back to making money, to get you off of your butts and out there doing deals. Think about money is one of the biggest factors in breaking up marriages today. Having wealth can help get your family back, can help get the romance back in your life. Being able to, for Nancy, getting out of teaching, being in front of her students, or being in front of her family and not being a teacher anymore. Sad to me because we lost a great teacher, but kudos to her because she got her life back. So part of disease is stress. People are stressing out because they don't have the money. So imagine what this can do for you. When you have all the systems, everything's compliant and legal, disease starts in the mind. And it starts by, that mentality of, I'm broke, I can't do this. I want to get you out there. And these group coaching calls that we do every month are like mini masterminds. It gets you out there and it gets you going. So scan this. If this doesn't work, put it in the, click on the link in the chat box. And we're going to start our next drill down. It will be next week, Thursday. It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I don't know if you have people from all over, Duncan, but if they're on the East Coast, we try to keep them pretty early because I'm on the East Coast and they usually go about an hour, and sometimes we do them on the weekends as well. So if there's any questions, I'll take questions right now.
All right, guys, if you have a question, you can either write it in the chat or you can raise your hand and I'll put you on, allow you to speak here. So, just want to reiterate that Gary and Maria are very accessible to you. That's one of the things I liked about them, having them come in as Boston RIA. Many times when you buy a system or a course, this is the last time you'd hear from them. But Bree and Gary are very involved with their students. So that's one thing, I really look forward to. This is a no-brainer price also, a lot of things going on in the market that are really ridiculously priced. And the things that you're hearing on YouTube about Subject 2 and some other courses out there, they're really wishy-washy and they really got some bad information. You can imagine as Maria, as a nurse and her husband as a doctor, have that mindset to, do things at the highest, most standard and detail. So you saw examples in that in the documentation. If you do require an attorney to review the documents for your state, one of the things I did was sign up for Legal Shield or prepaid legal in its prior format, and they'll review up to 12 contracts a year just for their small monthly fee of like $21. And it's a great legal service, especially if you're having, you have to deal with an eviction or something like that. So, this really is back to the basics, but gives you a trifecta of multiple ways to structure deals. I come from a marketing background, so the sooner you guys dive into marketing and start talking, and don't be afraid to open your mouth negotiating, you're going to be doing deals. That's really it is, and get your first one under your belt, and your confidence is going to grow. And you had your emergency coaching session there to make sure that happens, Maria, which I absolutely think is
Absolutely.
great. One more time, the
Yeah, and
link.
I love
Yeah.
talking about real estate. Duncan, I can do that all day long. I've been up till 3 a.m, doing real estate. And, that's why, we want to give it to, everybody at an affordable price, but, to basically cover my expenses and very little more than that. So that's why we keep it at $12.97. And that's why we give you so many different systems there, the courses, because if you miss one piece, maybe you're doing have to walk a property that you're going to buy on terms, but you need from the fix and flip how to do a scope of work. So
Yeah.
we don't want you to miss one piece.
Awesome. Guys, I just think this is a no-brainer. Again, it's a tax write-off. This is real estate investing education. Great way to start off the new year. Let's get it done. As I can say, there's no sense putting this off any longer. So there's the code, the QR code, if you like to do it that way, or the link in the chat. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, and I'm
Just
on the
do it.
East Coast too with you guys, so it's even
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah. So, you guys just gotta do it. Back to the basics is your desire. There is your intention to create wealth. Maria did say you're only 12 houses away from financial freedom. One deal a month is easy to do, guys. In my heyday, when I was at full steam, 6 to 10 deals a month is very possible. And I think, Maria, you want to impress also that you don't have to stay in Boston to do deals. You can do these Boston anywhere around the country that you choose in those markets, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, the one that I got here in central Pennsylvania, I was in Arizona. I mean, I bought it pretty much sight unseen, other than looking through, FaceTiming the seller. I buy properties in Milwaukee, not too much in Florida anymore with their insurance issues. We buy them all over the country. I have students in different parts of the world as well. I even have students in Singapore who invest here in the United States using those. We're actually in a very blessed country as far as doing these creative deals. Most countries and most places in the world, you cannot be doing this stuff. You cannot get into a property with little to no money, and regardless of your credit. It doesn't matter what your credit is. I never get asked for my credit scores when I do these deals.
So let me ask you this, Maria. I mean, there's a lot of people said I should have done that, and I say woulda, coulda, should have. There's actually, no matter what the market condition is, there's no better time to buy real estate because, if you're going to buy and hold it, it's eventually going to go up. You can always flip it. I mean, there's no better time. The interest rate doesn't matter. You're going to make money.
Right. And it doesn't matter what your education or lack of education is. Because my oldest is blind and my youngest is severely dyslexic, I try to incorporate several different learning styles. That's why we use a lot of video, audio, hands-on. I'm kinesthetic. So I like to take people and walk them through it, but yet I'm still a very analytical person. My husband likes to say that when it comes to deal structuring, I make the impossible possible. For example, we're doing a deal with a guy who's turning a property into a sorority house of all things. Up until recently, you couldn't have sorority houses by Penn State. A group of women living alone in a house was considered a brothel of all things. Who would have thought? Anyhow, he's turning it from a frat house, wants to get out of it. And rather than getting him to straight out seller finance it, I'm getting him to syndicate it where I'm syndicating it. He's doing a 1031 exchange back into his own syndication and we're selling shares.
Wow.
And I'm in it
Awesome.
for no money on a $4 million property.
So, what? I would have never even thought of that. That's an amazing, I think I'm a pretty creative guy and I would have never even thought of that. So, that's awesome. And, Gary is saying, hey, this, you don't get to think that, you can't do this, because he's actually teaching, or you both are teaching other nurses, other doctors, CPAs, lawyers, business owners. Anybody can do this. You just have to have the desire and the, hopefully your passion to create wealth. Real estate's just a method of getting you financial freedom, and you really got to hook into what's your passion, being it your kids, travel, what have you. You just made some New Year's resolutions. So yeah, let's use real estate, which has made more millionaires than anybody else to get this done. And the real estate wealth machine system, real estate profit system, 1297. You have the link, you have the code, nothing to hold you back. So again, thank you very much, Maria and Gary. I don't see any of the other questions. I have been recording, so there will be a replay posted in the next couple of days if you wanted to review anything. I guess, Maria, if they had any questions following up with this, they could go to your website and go to the contact us form.
Yep, you can do that, or you can hit me up realestateprofitsystem@gmail.com as well. Some people like Gmail instead. But yeah, just hit me up, hit contact. If you don't see your email and you get it, hit contact. I will get back to you right away, but you should be getting an email immediately to get the course and get in. And like I said, the last time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. So if not now, then when?
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you once again for your time. Lots of thank yous coming in now. So I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you at our next convention.
Perfect. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All righty, guys. Take care.
Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Spot on, sweetie. Everybody, remember to copy and paste the chat so that you can network later after the meeting. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for coming on.